Good evening. Welcome to the September meeting for the Newburg R2 School Board. We'll begin with our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm all trained this train.
Yeah, been there.
No. So, we do have a quorum, 6 board members present. For the agenda, any additions or corrections anyone sees? There's none. If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept the agenda as written.
Motion.
Motion by Matt, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Adam. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries 6-0. No one has signed up for public comment, I assume? Okay. Ready for consent agenda. On our consent agenda, we have 2 items, which would be the minutes of our previous meeting from back in August 25th, and also our monthly financial statement would be the consent items. Any questions on either one of those items? If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda as written or approved.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Birdsong, second by Mrs. Melfield. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries 6-0. Bills, approval of the bills. Had a chance to look through those, and you saw that there were some additions. Also, any questions on any of those? The only question I have, and I came down and actually talked a little bit about it, is that, the Project Lead the Way expenses, they're pretty high. So do you know have we found that that is covered by our grant, or is that those expenses covered by our grant?
It's a combination of different grants, so some stuff is reimbursable, some stuff is 50/50 grant supported.
Do we know which stuff is which stuff?
Correct.
Do we know which stuff is which stuff?
Yes.
Okay. So when we're writing those requisitions, do we put on there whether it's 50/50 money or 80/20 money or pure district money?
For the most part, it's defined by what class it is.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So the high school classes each have their own grant supporting certain parts of whatever the expenses are. And then the junior high classes are supported by the 50/50, the new classes that we introduced.
But grant supporting teacher training or actual supplies?
So some are supported by just training, some are supported by training and supplies.
Okay. I think as we write those requisitions and those get pushed through, we need to make sure we know which
Is there,
fund those get put to.
out of the, 15,000-ish for that, do we know how much of that we will have to cover? Do we have an idea of what that is? Is it half?
So
A
it
quarter?
depends on each class. Every class is supported by a different grant.
Yeah. But total, we should have an idea of how much our part is that we're going to cover. I'd like to know that at some point. So, and whatever. And I don't know, is this the only time we're going to see a bill like this year, or will we see another one in January from that semester's work? And then if so, what is that breakdown? And it doesn't have to be every little thing that we buy, but just kind of how much are we covering of that if it's a 50/50? And then
General idea for the year.
yeah, just so we know, hey, out of this 15 grand, we've got to cover 7,500 of it, or it's $2,000 out of 15,000, which is just an idea, so we know where we're at on that part, how that works out. So that'd be appreciated. And then I guess one more question I have is when we do those grants, is it easy for Amy to figure that out? Or we need to make sure that with that stuff, she should just say, here's some money and it goes here, and that's her job.
Also on that requisition, it needs to say
Yeah.
Yeah.
where it goes to.
I don't want to speak for Amy, but I'm going to brag on her just a little bit. There's not anything that she can't do, but there's some things that's easier than others.
Yeah.
Is that fair, Amy?
Well, and my question is, to what extent is it where she really shouldn't be doing that? So that's my question to you all. Is that really a job? Should she have to wade through that and figure out what is what? Or kind of say, this kind of laid out for you with a little path and an arrow? Just, I know we're all busy, but let's don't add more than we have to if we don't need to do that. Just my 2 cents on that. You won't get, that's not a 50-50 either, that's just all of it, that's all I have, 2 cents. Thank you.
Any questions on the bills from anyone else? Now I entertain a motion to, oh, sorry.
No,
Mr.
it's not
Kelly.
about the bills, but I don't know if everybody else gets this, but why do I have to request to open that when you guys send it?
That must be a mistake on the share.
Do you open it in your?
I
Are you
never-
logged into your school email account?
That's what it is that I
Yeah,
did. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, just want to make sure. Because I don't like asking them for permission to see anything.
Dang right.
Somebody's gotta be the boss, Steve. We know it's Amy. I'll make a motion.
I'm gonna write this down while I'm thinking about it, sorry.
I'll second his motion.
Motion by Mr. Birdsong, second Mr. Brookshire to accept the bills or pay the bills. Any questions, any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, raise your hand. Matt, you in favor? Okay, motion carries 6-0. Ready for administrative reports, principals, you wanna go first? I think I picked up Mr. Clark last time, so Mr. Talent, your turn.
Sure. I'm just going to start off with some of the basics, just what we've been doing here in the high school and some upcoming events. But Picture Day is October 11th. That's going to include our regular school pictures, fall sports, and senior banners. FFA went to Area 13 Leadership Conference yesterday. They took 35 members, one of which our officer serves as the area secretary. So it was really neat to see him work in that team with also his Newburg chapter team as well. Phelps County Farm Bureau had invited Newburg FFA officers to their annual meeting this week. The students were able to listen to Mike Kehoe speak about agriculture, and then he ended up presenting a donation to the chapter. And then in more FFA news, the enrollment is up with 25 freshmen and 24 sophomores. In athletics, basketball will be
Say that
selling.
again, enrollment what?
The enrollment is up, and this year we have 25 freshmen and 24 sophomores.
So it didn't go up by 25 freshmen?
No.
No, that's
Still.
not what.
Just
one
checking
class
there,
was.
thinking,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, okay. We have,
They are
She's
growing.
We had a
chickens
huge
into the
influx.
classroom. She has all those freshmen.
Athletics, basketball is going to start selling t-shirts at games for their basketball fundraiser. The baseball fundraiser is October 1st at the J Highway Gun Club. Did I say that correct?
I believe so.
Okay. There's a shoot there held by the club, but the baseball team is taking the monies off.
They're
the
doing
meal
concessions.
and the concessions as their fundraiser. Softball districts will begin October 11th. Meet the Wolves is November 10th. Classes are having our first meetings tomorrow to start getting that planned out. And our counselor announcements. Submitted our first, second, and third preferences on the ASVAB for all juniors and seniors. Testing on-site for all juniors and one senior. It was a requested retake. The Navy recruiter was here today. MU recruiter will be here Tuesday. Voc rehab will be here September 29th. Juniors and seniors who want to attend college and career fair at Crocker, October 13th. And that's on October 13th. 8th grade is going on a WCC tour October 19th. And Red Ribbon celebrates awareness, and October lessons are being prepared and will be presented during October. Current plan is a spirit week at the end of the month. And then we have an aspiring administrators program. This is year 2 for it, 2 of which were able to shadow Mr. Clark and I today. We were able to just go through the typical day of what we are doing every day. We were able to get into classrooms, do supervision, do parent contacts, do any of that stuff. You know, typical day, they were able to shadow. Mr. Thorpe was with myself, and Mr. Wisdom was with Mr. Clark.
So is that something that we started, or is that something that their cohort that they're doing with,
It's in-house. It's all Newburg, just Newburg.
because I'm gonna tell you, when I heard about this, I have a little issue with it because when you have a sub, when you're getting a sub to follow you guys around, kids suffer in the classroom, because I don't care what great sub you have, they're missing instruction time. When I had people that wanted to be a principal and they followed me around, it was during their conference period, before school and after school.
Okay.
And so, that whole thing, which we'll talk about in closed session, another thing, but I just want you to know, I think that we could, you know, I mean, you guys have been in education long enough, when you have a sub, you lose instruction. I just don't personally like it, so just sharing my opinion.
Where's district softball at?
Ooh, let me look it up. I did have it.
Is it at Crocker?
I was thinking Crocker.
I think it's Crocker.
It seems,
I think. You know, Dusty? I think it's Crocker.
I'll look at it, it's okay,
I'm pretty sure, I'm pretty certain it's at Crocker.
it's not that important, I just curious.
They're kind of the central hub right now for most everything, and they've got good facilities.
Okay. Mr. Clark?
Mr. Shaw and I had our outbrief with Catapult Learnings, the summer journeys, summer school program. I think Mr. Shaw brought several of the binders that they shared with us. Biggest takeaway, parents were really happy with the program. Current survey, they said was higher than what they normally see. Really happy with transportation, everything seemed really well.
That's a good thing. It was tough.
Attendance was good.
The attendance and of course, we picked up some of those extra kids after, after our it started, so that really kind of jumped it. They were really bragging on our transportation. They said that just no one has ratings that high, so that was really good to hear. That basically what their interpretation of those numbers was the kids are happy right with us. They're pleased with what's going on.
We've got, so we have our Pathways to Reading consultant that comes once a month to work with Lower Elementary. We also have the Missouri Reading Initiative that comes 22 days this year as part of the literacy grant. They come on a PD day and give strategies to the ELA teachers. Then they come back and they model those strategies in classrooms, and then they come back a third day and they watch the teachers and give teachers feedback on using those strategies. And so this year our MRI lady is Casey Mitchell, and she spent her first 3 days with us, and I just wanted to share with you her comment on our team. This was from her outbrief email to me. She said, "I was so impressed with the culture of Newburg Elementary. Everyone was willing to support each other, welcome outsiders, and most importantly, I can see the passion they all have for their students and their job. You have a wonderful culture and staff that are eager learners that will do what is best for their students." So our outside people that are coming in working with all our teachers are really impressed with the team. Discipline. Today was our 19th day in school with students. To date, we've had a total of 98 referrals and resolutions involving 70 students, with 21 Friday night detentions and 48 suspensions. Vista,
Since the start of school?
Was that
Since the start of school?
correct?
Is that district-wide?
Yes.
Say
And
that-
how many
Say
suspensions?
that again?
48.
98 referrals with resolutions involving 70 students, a total of 21 Friday night detentions, and 48 in-school or out-of-school suspensions.
In school or out of school? Okay. For a second, I just about had a heart attack. But I got
Well,
it.
but I'll tell you what, I appreciate it because
I'm not saying, I just,
if we don't,
48 would be a bunch of out of school.
Yes.
well,
And,
but
we
I'm
knew
not-
it was
I'm
gonna
just
be
telling
something
you,
though.
they, yeah, we'll talk about
Anyway,
But no, okay.
Vista, we had 4 Vistas as part of the grant, federal grant. We had some concerns and problems with the Vistas right there. They are volunteers. They receive a living allowance, but the program is designed to be volunteers. Mr. Shaw and I talked to AmeriCorps. Their rep came down and toured the building and visited with us, and we explained to them some of the challenges we had. And so they have awarded us a $40,000 grant to hire a full-time person to supervise the Vistas. That person would be a school employee and would work directly for us, and then they would be responsible for the 4 Vistas that we would then recruit. Which the whole Vista grant was designed to help with finding the funding for Project Lead the Way and things like that.
and the Vistas are what, they're the ones doing a lot of the grant research writing and all of that, and kind of seeing it through the process, correct?
Yes, and then they work in the classrooms during the Project Lead the Way classes, and they also support the ag.
That grant is a 1-year grant, 2-year grant?
So it's a 1-year grant for the $40,000 and potentially renewable. So the person that we would hire would then be responsible for writing the grant to renew that position.
Is that salary, is that insurance, is that both, is that
That's how
That would be-
retirement?
That would be everything.
Since you're a
We could
school
use that
employee,
40,000 for salary or benefits.
So that 40,000 covers complete cost of the district?
Say that one more time.
Would cover all cost, that would cover all cost of the district?
Yes, sir. Yeah, so if, let's say that person had a $15,000 benefits package, then their salary would only be $25,000 to keep it within the limits of the grant.
If they had teachers who didn't fall under the new guidelines for teaching.
No, I don't think so. Because it's not a teaching position, and they're actually doing Vista work.
They're applying for a very specific job.
Go ahead, Mr. Clerk.
Last thing I have, if you look in the board packet, there's a PDF titled Suicidal, Ideation, and Self-Injury Procedures. It's just something we wanted to make you aware of. Our counselors worked on this. Schools all over the country are facing an increase in mental health challenges. And we all have time if you take a look at it, but it basically outlines our procedure to handle that if a student threatens to hurt themselves. The important thing is that we're building a structure where if a student threatens to hurt themselves, then in order to come back to school, they have to see a mental health professional, somebody who can say that it's safe for them to come back to school.
Now, is this something, I don't know if I heard or didn't hear, did we model this from something else, or did we build this off our research?
The counselors built it,
Okay.
yeah, so I'm sure they've talked to other counselors in other schools.
Yeah, I thought it was very nice, so, I thought it was good.
Any questions for the principals?
I have, kind of fits with you guys, but FASBA stuff for financial aid for all that is coming up. In the past, it's been a while, but we used to do some parent teaching for that, have some classes after school, and because it's a little bit to it. Our counselors kind of worked on that. I didn't know if that's something we could reintroduce and get that going with a night or two and have some of that worked out. Because some of that's a little confusing. And what information,
All
what
of
information.
this- all of it's confusing.
Yeah, what information that you need, because there's quite a bit to it. So, I didn't know if that might be something we want to have our counselors look at, offer
It used to
out.
be the whole program for that, and then once COVID hit, it kind of.
Yes, and that's why it's one of those things it's one of those things you don't think of
Yeah.
until.
Till you get ready to fill
Yeah,
it
till
out.
you get ready to fill it out, then work that out. So, but that might be something nice to offer to our parents and help them get through that.
Yeah, because it opens in October.
And I think it's due in February, I believe.
But it's nice, it's better to get it done early.
Yes, yep. That's all I had, thank you.
Anything else from the principals? My only thing is that I love hearing you talk about your buildings and your things. I want to see some of those reports. You know, we talked about keeping those reports in the packet and having the reports like the discipline report. Maybe some of your testing, like the evaluate results, so we could see that on paper, but it's sometimes hard to visualize the numbers when you don't have it in front of you to look at.
Okay.
So if we could put the discipline numbers back in the packet.
Have a little combo action.
And then also the evaluate numbers
Okay.
back in the packet. Those two reports would be very handy for us to look at.
Okay.
The rest, I think is great to put out where we can hear it and others can hear it.
Yeah, I think the public is.
It's so much nicer to hear it than it is to just us read it. So appreciate that. Anything else? If not, Mr. Shaw?
One thing that I would mention that wasn't in the earlier report, we have started to collect and compile our map and EOC data. And about the time that I was getting ready to release that information, I got an email from our state supervisor that said these are preliminary, they're not final results, so do not release them to the public yet. So when you have started working, I say we, these guys over here have been doing all that work, compiling that. And off of the preliminary numbers, there's some good things happening there. So not that we don't have work to do in some areas, but it's showing signs of improvement. So that's good, especially coming out of the pandemic. I'm glad to see that. So
Who's our state supervisor? Mike? Pretty good. I like Mike. Thank you. Okay, anything else, Mr. Shaw? Any questions? We'll move on. Facilities and construction. Updates, Mr. Shaw, on that?
yes, we have.
Let's run through our things that we have
Okay.
completed first, so we
Okay.
have them before we hit the bids.
The
So the elementary office,
elementary
all
office
done?
is done. The door, or not, I should say the door, the lock people were here and fixed it and have that front door working properly.
Magnetic part of it.
Yep.
Rex and them.
Rex and them, yeah. They have caught up to what materials have come in, and so we're waiting on the rest of the things to come in, so they can come back.
Hardware?
Hardware, yeah,
Okay.
hardware, yeah. Is that
That's
correct?
correct, and
Andy?
they're,
Okay.
I believe either next week, they're going to start dropping the wire. So the wire will be put in, I think they said next week. So as far as going and having everything in place for when the hardware comes in, so.
So that was, we're glad to have that there for that office. The hardware came in for that, and they had come early and did that for us. Yeah, as far as the office construction, all of the offices are complete. The only thing that is, I say left to do, and that falls on Amy and I's shoulders when we get some time, is to start going through the files in that file room that's in the high school office and handing them out to.
That's just gonna be.
To where they need.
In your old one.
Hold on, yeah. So there's 10
I can't remember how many
It's,
there's.
there's plenty,
Mr. Shaw,
plenty
don't
of
put it
files
on
in there,
there.
so yeah, just makes me feel bad.
There's just a lot of files.
But yeah, so that, other than that being moved, everything for the office.
So how's the fill and the flow of the new stuff? Does it seem to be good
I think
for
so.
all of you all?
Oh, absolutely.
I like it myself. I think it's nice.
I was up at the elementary office in Title I now. They've made that Title I room look really nice in there.
Yes.
You know, and now, of course, the office looks nice too. They've adapted that around to make that look really good.
And those grade level teams meet in there, and it's
It's a good place.
It's a good place, it is, yeah. Yep.
Good place.
How's it working with the counselors being kind of conjoined with you all? Is that working out all right? It seems like it would be a good layout. I didn't know that was happening here, and I like that. That's nice.
It's it's working very well.
Good. I like it myself. I think it's great.
And
Now, the old high school office, we're still working on that to someday get it to Hall of Fame, right?
yes, and our
Is that still a
goal,
question?
question of
When we getting that back?
when we get it, yeah. It is still a question, I'm sorry, I
I
misunderstood.
still get
Yes.
to, I still get to answer that question,
Yeah.
when that's gonna be back in place.
So
I told them in about 5 years.
yeah, well, we're hoping
No,
sooner
I
than
did
that,
not.
but
I did not say
our goal is, I hate to put this pressure on them, but our goal is meet the rules and have it ready to go,
That's
this
right.
way by then.
That's quick.
But, and I know I'm gonna put some pressure on her. She's not here, so I'm gonna throw her name out, but,
I'd be glad to
The-
help in that process if there's any way I can help with
okay.
moving, arranging, whatever.
Okay.
I'm glad to come down and spend an hour or two and help.
Bring some.
Move one box.
I'll move one cabinet over for Amy.
Yeah, thank you.
I did some sweet talking with Mrs. Buffington and the Betas, and I think that they are going to organize that as a service project through Beta Club, so.
That'd be great.
Very nice.
That's smart.
That's our goal, and so,
Okay, again,
we're,
I could help with that a little bit here and there if we needed to. Let me know. I'm glad to come down. Because I do get asked that question, so.
yeah.
Yeah, I visit the man every day, ask me that question, so.
Asked about it.
I bet I know who it is.
Every once in a while, he'll bring it up. So. And he'd like to really see it when it's put together. So I'll bring you when that day's ready.
Well, we even talked about having some type of a open house event when we get it ready for the public
That'd
to
be
come back
great.
in, so.
That'd be great. He would be happy to do it.
And along those lines, I think the Betas would be happy to do that too.
Sure.
So, you know, I mean, to
Just gotta get it done, that's the
yeah,
hard part.
getting it organized. I mean,
That's just,
yeah.
make it look like something, will take some time. Okay. Wait,
And we have,
I want to interrupt you one more time, sorry. So where are we with the ag building? Let's go there first.
Plumbing's roughed in, about ready to start some finish work in there. Plumbing's roughed in, electrical's roughed in, so.
Water drains,
Water drains, all that's
all that's
in, yeah. Eye wash station, do we have an eye wash station?
Don't have one.
We gotta get an eye wash station ordered, so. Other than, I mean, all the rough stuff's pretty well done now. There's some guys getting some pricing on some duct work down there this evening and should have that back soon.
Okay.
Um,
Are all your machines hooked up in the shop?
No.
No.
The electric is still roughed in.
Yeah, it'd be.
What do you mean by roughed in?
Like it's sitting, I mean, I don't know much about construction, but the
They'll come to
plug
a
is there,
finish.
but it's not,
Can't plug it in.
yeah.
Can't plug it in.
It's not.
Can't plug it
It's
in.
not wired in.
I follow.
It's not wired in, yeah, sorry.
Got
It's
it.
not wired in.
Okay.
They are down there, but the equipment
So
is
she
down.
had to get everything in place.
Yes, I knew that. I knew
Yeah.
the equipment
The
was
final
there.
connections.
I knew
Yeah,
that was there. We just have to go from power to the machine.
With short, only thing he could do is pulled a bunch of guys together on a Saturday and they came down and worked like madmen and got everything roughed in for us, because they're just overwhelmed, so.
I understand. Do we have all the sheet rock done? No.
No, that's the
So
next, that's the next,
one
we'll get the
after we
floor,
get all
we'll get
the-
the floor poured back, and
the
then we'll
floor.
start with whatever, we'll probably have to have some discussion on what kind of finishes
And
we want
ceiling?
inside. Ceiling's done,
Okay,
yeah.
so the ceiling is in,
Mhm.
lights are in,
Lights will come with the finish on the electrical.
That, they're cut in, I think, on some of that.
They've got them, they've
Yeah,
got,
they're boxes, they're.
yeah, they've got them all roughed in, but they're not, the finish isn't there yet.
all right, now I'll try to be quiet and let you talk.
No, that's all right, that's what I was gonna talk about next.
Okay.
Since the last board meeting, the construction project that we had done is the ceiling in the old gym, the two-story.
I seen that.
Metal put up in there.
It's in there?
Yeah,
It's done.
I thought it turned out nice.
Looks a lot better.
It
Yes.
changes, it looks.
Tremendously better.
The old gym, we put a new ceiling and all
Yeah.
that. Yeah, it's-
Yeah, that's
Who
way
did that?
better.
Dave Hendricks, yeah, sorry, Dave Hendricks.
That's project.
Yes.
Dave Hendricks or something?
No,
But-
Richland.
Oh. It looks good, I think.
Not the one.
Okay, yeah.
And then we have some bids for some new work to be done. The first one is in the bus barn, and that's from Hartley's to move. There's where the buses park. There's a coil, heating coil out there. Of course, it all runs off the boiler from the little furnace, but it's not heating. One coil is not heating the mechanic shop enough to keep it warm through the winter. And so what they had proposed was moving that other coil into the shop so that it would have basically two coils in there to heat that area for Lonnie when he's working in there in the winter. And so we wouldn't be buying a new coil, we're using the one we have, just move
Just
it.
relocate.
Relocate. Which will, you have cost of the plumbing, to run that tubing down to where it would be and then installate, putting it in and. the
Now,
equipment to do that.
do we not need the second one where it's at now?
No, that, Lonnie said that it stays warm enough in there that
Okay.
the buses don't have any trouble starting. And that was my question, is if we take
And
it out
it'll
of there.
continue to stay warm enough when we
Yeah.
take half of it away.
And yes, they felt that way, that it would be
Okay.
fine, yeah. Because that was
That-
my first question
That
too.
concerns me a little bit. I would rather just put a new one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the cost of the new coil would be, but just to put a new one in Lonnie's shop and leave the other one. If our furnace can support that, that's the other option too. Maybe it can't. do
Yeah, and I
that.
don't know the answer to that question.
So
That's true
maybe-
too.
Maybe we're tapping it out right now with what it is.
Really, we can buy a coil for less than $5,500.
We,
Couldn't we?
I haven't, that stuff is, it's like everything, it's went through the roof. I don't,
You hate to guess because.
I'd like to see us maybe bid just with a coil, put another coil in
put
that.
another one
Just
in.
if
Just add one.
our stuff would
And that way
can
we're
handle
not,
that.
that way we're
Yeah.
not moving it all the way out. We're not paying for all that copper, sure.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
then we can just add on to that existing coil that's there and add a second coil to it with the existing copper that's there. Should feed both of them, I would think. That's somebody that knows a lot more than I do about that, but
Yeah, we can get another bid on that.
let's look at that and see. We're still a little ways from trying this zero, so.
Yeah, yeah.
I hate for that
And I
bus,
think
the
part of
bus
the,
section to get too cold and
No,
then
that's a
that bothers
concern.
me just a little bit.
have
Yeah.
issues there.
To take that one completely out and not have anything.
Yeah, because what if we have a week of 0 or 10 degrees, and I don't, it concerns me. If our stuff can handle it, I'd rather just add another one for Lonnie,
Okay.
and then we're
We
good.
plug them in, I'm assuming. All the buses get plugged in, I'm assuming.
I asked Lonnie that too, and he said that they don't have to. He said these buses are starting just fine. They've never had an issue with them. Because I wanted the same thing, where you plug them in at, and he said they've not had any issue with them starting, so.
We're not plugging them
I think it stays decent in there.
in. Okay. Have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'd like to see what it
Yeah.
costs just to stick
Okay.
another And we can still get it done before winter.
I mean, that's my thought
Well,
too.
I think, and that's just me. What do you all think on that?
I agree.
Yeah, I think so too.
So we'll table that series of bids for a moment.
Okay. The next one is from Ray King Construction, and that is to enclose the area between the annex and the two-story. We had went and walked through when we were changing the offices and talking about framing in that sidewalk and coming up to the door there. So that would be 2 garage doors, the rolled-up doors, to where if need be, we could still drive through that area there, but then it would close it in during the school day to secure it for kids going to the annex. And it includes, that bid includes the doors, the windows, the metal siding for the inside and the outside of the framing, and the roller doors.
So that's basically a complete project.
What do we come up with on them units, them outside units? Are they going away? The window units that are sticking out in that?
They are going away.
They are going away.
Yeah.
That-
And that includes,
I'm sorry.
sorry, well, that just, since you brought that up, that's part of that bid too, about framing those in.
Enclosures back.
Yeah,
Can we do that, but he wouldn't finish the inside wall, right? Didn't he finish the inside wall?
That,
just
the
that.
metal
Exterior.
exterior siding and then metal interior siding is just right on.
It's got metal liners, on the inside.
So you can, that's what it is on the inside wall.
This way I took it, yeah. Be metal on the inside.
So we think 2x4 frame is good enough for that?
But then it's not much structural value there.
There's not much weight.
And you're not looking really, I mean, you're not really worried about insulation value for that, I don't think, are we?
It's just a passing
Yeah,
house.
I mean, it's just a walkway.
And he does have some insulation in that bid too. He
Yeah.
does.
But I mean,
And
we
one of
don't
his reasons on it was heat more than cold, worried about it
Yeah.
becoming
Yeah.
a sun in there.
Yeah.
So, trying to keep elements out is, as much
Yes. Yeah, and it works both ways.
And the money for this is gonna come from
Bond.
Amy's salary or?
Yeah.
She's
We
just
got
working
Amy-
for
we got Amy working a second job
There
for this one.
there you go. Yeah, that, yeah.
All right, take it back, it's a third job, isn't it?
Yeah, that would be a third job.
So it'd be
Bond
from
money.
the bond money, and how much,
We have plenty of bond money still yet.
We are at, the last draw, well, I take it back, so we drew our
That
last
would
one
be-
today, didn't we?
Correct,
The
so
78.
whatever balance on there is as of September payables.
So that would be 863,641 left on that. Now that also, we have to come out of that, our exterior door installation, from St. Robert Glass has
How
not been,
much was that?
has not been taken out yet. No, it was more than that.
yeah, it was close to
It was-
that.
Yeah.
100 grand,
Yeah.
90 something?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And then, so we'd have this, and then
What about the communication?
finishing our
that was-
intercom system.
And that was a little bit too, was it 60-ish for that?
Yeah.
So what, 100,000, we've already earmarked, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So we're gonna have roughly,
650 left.
yeah,
Still should be fine, finish the acting.
and that was, and the walkway was 65 and some change, is that
Yeah.
right?
That's great.
Are we paid up with the Hendricks, with Mr. Hendricks?
Yes, the
Everything they've
payable
done?
this month that we paid him out, that he should be all caught up.
Except for
Except
the gym meeting.
That's right, the
Yes.
gym
Except for the-
meeting's in.
Okay.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Hartley, where are we at on them?
I made our final payment last
Last
month on
month.
that.
Okay.
Mhm.
So we're all caught up.
So we're-
Except for any odd, but nothing bond.
That's not what I'm
Yeah,
not
okay.
talking about coming and working on
Yeah,
things. I meant
okay, yeah.
anything new,
So we've easily used 600,000 left.
600,000 left,
Yeah.
we should be
Yeah.
fine.
And
650.
what are you,
Has given
what
us
do you
cushion.
think?
I'll
Less
ask
than
them.
two?
Oh, Yeah,
To do the
in
finish
that,
work,
two
you
in
know.
that area.
Yeah.
I mean,
Somewhere in that neighborhood, probably. Yeah. You know how finish work is.
Yeah.
What's your preferences?
When can he start and, or what would his plan of attack be?
Well, and that's, I would like to meet with Mr. King and work that out to where we were working around school days, so that,
How long
because
does he
there's a lot
think
of
it'd take him
traffic
to
through
do
there.
that?
I don't know.
Okay.
He didn't,
He's worked
we
that all
didn't talk
out.
that part, yeah.
I
But
want to say probably 2 weeks. is
That's
what
what I'm wondering. I didn't know if it could be,
It'd be fast,
Mm.
because it'll go up pretty quick,
I
I
don't know if
think.
that could be a Christmas break thing, or if we wanted sooner than that, I don't know.
Just
Yeah,
depends
the-
on the garage doors and windows.
getting the
Well,
materials
that's
in,
the
I mean,
other part.
that's the.
Because we could pour it up until then.
Shoot, I could make
Sometimes,
it.
right, yeah, I know, that's what I was getting ready to say, getting the materials here.
Yeah, we're doing garage doors at our fire station, and we're still waiting on them.
Now, if it was,
And that's 6 months ago.
if that's something that, if it's the only thing that we would be waiting on.
Could frame
my
that in.
Yeah, my suggestion would be to frame that in until they're here, that way, just go ahead and get that area secure. The one thing I do worry about is there's a lot of student traffic through there during the school day. And so,
Isn't busy with equipment and working.
yeah, just trying to, but he's done that kind of work before, you know, I mean, he worked around kids and stuff before and done a real good job, so.
Well, I'll make a motion to accept Mr. King's bid for the walkway of, I don't know the exact dollar, but it's 65,000 and some change.
65,383.
65,383.
$65,383. Motion made by Mr. Birdsong, seconded by Mrs. Melfeld to accept the bid from Mr. Keene for enclosure of that back walkway. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries 6-0. You got the amount in there, Ms. Amy?
I do.
Anything else, Mr.?
I have one more bid that came in today. Reese Construction, sent a bid for demoing the houses. And so they, yeah, it just came in today, so I just uploaded it.
You okay?
I got it right here.
And
It's easy for me to just look at it here.
the
Okay, so home one on there is what? Which one? That's 810 Wolf Drive. Which one's that?
That's, I
Is that
think,
the house next
I
door?
think that's this one, right here.
no, 671 would be this one
Okay.
back here.
We have the asbestos. That'd be-
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That's this one here.
It goes there.
So this is 671,
Mhm. And
808 is the burnt one?
Yeah, and then 810.
There would
810
be
is the other one?
Yeah,
the-
810 is the Peck property.
Hey, yeah.
So we can take care of the burnt one in the Peck property, correct?
I was talking with Mr. Brookshire about that the other day. I don't think so.
Where is this bid at?
It's in the bids, in the bid folder. Find it?
Oh,
You see it, Dusty?
So the Peck property, the burnt one are 4,000 apiece, and then this one with the
That was
asbestos
8,000.
is 8,000.
So all of them for 16,000, cleaned up and gone? No, and they got it all cleaned up and we don't have to do nothing?
no, that's 100% everything going.
Oh, what a deal.
Site.
Start tomorrow. I think. Oh, my goodness.
And then
The
the
house, I'd take forever, I think.
asbestos is what.
Yeah, I got that piece
Yeah.
Did you get that?
out of there. It's in my shop, but I still got it. But I got it out of there so they can tear it down. Now, is that taking the shop, the little, when they made this bid on that house that's burned down up here, is that just taking the burnt house out? Or is that
Just-
taking the shed that's there as part of that house out too?
Just the burnt house.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. Just curious.
And then we've got that old barn back there as well, too.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Now, on the burnt property, that's everything that's there is going.
No, that was just the burnt house.
So I told them everything that was there.
Well, maybe we need to clarify
I
that.
can clarify that with you, yeah.
It's everything, it's even better.
Yes.
Take it all.
Just get everything off of that property.
If it's for that price.
talk to him. I'll give him a call.
Okay. Anyway, everybody see that? Everybody understand what it says here on the bids, or is that the house that burned down cost us about $4,000 to clean it up, gone. The old pet property up there cost us about $4,000 to get that house gone. And this house back here behind us cost us, because it's got some asbestos in it, cost us about $8,000 to have it gone. We don't touch anything, we don't do anything. They take care of all the licensing, they take care of all the paperwork that goes along with that, and we just have a nice clean lot when it's over. So total of about $16,000 is
Not bad for all of that.
the bid for that.
That's quite a bit of work.
That's a lot of work. So, what's your thoughts on that as a board?
I'll make a motion to accept it.
As long as they take that garage.
Even if they don't, I don't care. Motion by Mr. Brookshire to accept the bid for Reese. Reese Equipment and Contracting for the removal of the 3 houses that we have on our properties. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Shoeshank. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries 6-0. Anything else, Mr. Shaw?
No, that was the last one.
I'm glad to have those done. That's gonna be a nice deal.
Yeah. Any questions from anyone on the board on the facilities or construction? When did
Was there some bids
Rex
on
think he was gonna have all that completed by?
I
for our
don't
security?
know about completed. I do know that I got an update from SMC. A good chunk of the stuff is gonna be in next week, the 29th is the date for delivery. And then
Is it
what?
coming here?
It's coming here, yeah.
Okay.
Everything is being delivered here.
Okay.
And then the main thing that was kind of out a little bit, and I want to say it was like the second week of October, is the actual software, the equipment that we need to do it. But we can hook these up, to make them work. We just won't have the availability to run the software that we want. So hopefully, once he gets all that in, it will just be a couple weeks between the little gap there.
Yeah, so his work time will be caught up roughly with when the
Right,
stuff comes in.
and I can touch base with them, now that we kind of have some, idea of when the equipment's going to come in and
Sure.
see when he can make it scheduled. They came this past Saturday, and did some of the stuff, so I know some of it will be done on the weekends and things like that, so,
Is that Rex and Steve?
Yes.
They're doing that?
yes.
Do you have a question, Matt?
I did,
In the high school office, Mr. Talent, did they get the button for your lady to push it moved?
Yes.
So not climbing all the time? That's nice. Okay, good.
She appreciates
I
that.
bet she does. Anything else? If not, we'll move to our action items. Or action A, to adopt a DESI model for the special education compliance plan. Let's either make one ourselves or adopt the plan. We want to
Motion.
adopt the plan.
I second.
Okay. Motion by Mr. Guthrie, second Mr. Birdsong, to adopt the DESI model for compliance for our special education department. Any further discussion? Seeing none, proceed to vote. All those in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries 6-0. Mr. Sean's going to fill you in on the COVID relief. It's really not a plan, but it's a procedure.
The procedure, yeah. And part of our COVID monies are tied to having, the ESSER monies are tied to having a reentry plan and a COVID plan.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you something, I'm going deaf, so you're gonna have to speak
All
up.
right, all right.
That's
So-
what you're preaching.
So, okay.
I can't hear it.
That was me.
There's ambient sounds I can't hear, and that thing kicked on, so.
So our current plan is not up to date with current CDC guidelines, and we just want to update that so that it stays current with whatever the CDC recommendations are at the time.
And this is gonna be a living, reading thing that you guys just take care of and make sure it meets what we need to do. Unless we've gotta worry about that.
So that will be the changes that will be made to it.
Okay, you can start talking softer.
Any questions for that? It's not anything to vote on, it's just letting them know, that go ahead and change it to what they need to be current with what's happening. Okay. Also, Mr. Shaw, you can tell us about the MSBA scholarship information.
We are invited to have one student from our school apply to MSBA for a scholarship opportunity. The process of that they leave to the local school board of how to decide who that student is going to be. Mrs. Caffey has a scholarship committee that's made up of teachers and administrators, counselors, and different people that can do that. They do that for other local scholarships. I didn't know what the process has been in the past to do that, but that would be my recommendation, is
So we've
to
never
have that
picked one
committee
since
do
I've
that.
been involved.
I don't think we've been asked about this, so.
What's the preference, and I'll leave it as the committee doing it, want the board to do that one selection?
As
Or-
long as the people, MSBA doesn't care, as long as our committee does it, that's fine, then I
Yeah,
don't know why we change it for one.
yeah, they don't.
That's my thought anyway.
I agree. Everybody good with leaving it with the committee?
I'm good.
Okay, there's your consensus.
We will take care of that.
Okay. For item D, in your packet, you saw that we had 3 applications for our board vacancy. My suggestion to the board is to interview all 3 of those candidates, since there's only 3 of those. We can do it all one night, pick a night, or we can meet a special meeting, have a interview session, and at the end of that, pick our candidate, or pick our person to take that vacancy, and have a vote. Now, keep in mind, all of that is open session. The interview, the vote, discussion, all of that, the answers, the questions, all is done in open session. So, which is fine, I just want to remind you that there's no closed in any of that. So that's my thought of doing that, and I looked at the calendar, I went ahead and looked at the school calendar to kind of see what week might be better. Looks like the second week of October is more open than the first week of October as far as school events. It looked like the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, those 3 days
In the second week.
of the second week. Anybody on the website that can look at the calendar? I think it was 18th, 19th, no, 11th, 12th, 13th that were open.
Yeah.
That didn't have anything scheduled to them. The first week seemed to have something every night except Wednesday. I didn't want to, it makes a busy week if we just take up Wednesday and you've got something going on the rest, every night of the week. So I just looked 11, 12, 13th. Am I correct on that?
Yep.
Ms.
11th
Candace?
is picture day, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's during school. 12th
There's
is
no
empty.
activities after school or anything, 11, 12, or 13th. I didn't see.
How about
Yep, you're
12?
correct on that.
13th.
Mr. Talent?
11th.
I believe there is a ball game, a baseball game, the night of the 12th, if you're asking. about
Did it
that.
get rescheduled?
On a Wednesday?
It says it's at Lakeway.
Oh, no, that's canceled.
That one is canceled.
Yeah, they're not playing fall ball.
13th works better for Steve. I don't know how that works. That's Thursday. Does that work? I mean, it works for me.
What I suggest we do is pick 2 days that could work for us, and then see which one works best for the 3 candidates, because they have to all 3 be here, of course. But is there a certain, Thursday, any of those 3 days is fine with me. I can do either one.
I have commitments on the 11th.
12 or 13 would be good for me.
Okay, so 12th or 13th?
What about you,
12th or
Steve?
13th for,
That workable?
you good, Dusty? Nita, you good for 12th or 13th? Mr. Shaw?
If we do it to 12, I could
go to Jeff City.
Gentlemen, you wouldn't have to be here that evening. You're more than welcome to come to the open session, but you wouldn't have to be here as far as the requirements to be here. Miss Amy, we would really like for you to be here.
No, it's fine, 12th or 13th.
12th to 13th, okay?
Yeah.
With that? Okay. Okay,
Looks
so
like it.
what I would like to do is set that as our dates for interviews for that special meeting. Call our candidates. Mr. Shaw, can you call our candidates and see if all three of them can be here, either the 12th or the 13th? One of them, they have to be, they would need to be here either the 12th or 13th. All three of them.
Do we have a preference if they can view both? Would we rather do the Wednesday or the Thursday? Is that better?
Steve was better for Thursday, I think. than it was
That
Wednesday.
would be easier, but if we do it that Wednesday, I'll just work in Jeff City the next day, so that, I mean,
6:30?
I can make it work.
6:30 okay for time?
I would think so.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to go earlier, man. I don't want to go
I
earlier.
don't think shouldn't be a long
No,
thing.
should.
Do we want to try to have all three the same night?
Yes,
Is that right? Okay.
I'm gonna do it all three at the same time.
And we'll make our decision when we're finished.
I'll be in here together. My fault. So, special board meeting will be either the 12th or the 13th of October for the filling of the school board vacancy. Okay? And we'll post that, just like we would any other meeting, so that everybody's aware of when that is. We'll put it on Facebook or whatever that's called. Is
Miss
that right?
Constance, can you be here to air that for us? Thank you. We didn't ask her that either,
I'm sorry.
so. She's a team player.
Are we going to meet before that, though, so we have all on the same page when we do the interview process? Because when we're done with the interviews, are we going to send them out to discuss and then bring them back and vote, or, I mean, since it's
No,
open?
It's all open. I'll get
The
the
whole thing?
whole thing.
Okay.
Sorry, but that's.
No, I don't
that's
care.
what I was-
I'm just saying, I didn't know if you wanted to.
Are we gonna have a discussion on an interview process prior?
I think we should. Like,
Maybe
now's good.
Maybe that's what he's trying to.
Now's good. Now's a good time to do that. So what my idea is, and it's just my idea, and you can like it or not, or do something different, is we wouldn't do one at a time. We would do all three of them in here at the same time, ask the same question to all three of them. This question, this first time goes to this person first, next time goes to this person first, next time goes to this person first, so that all three of them are
Make it a lot faster.
They're all in here. It's all in here and all done, all open. I mean, it's no sense
I mean,
in,
the public gets to see it all, so
That's
we
right.
should get to see it all too.
so it's all right there. That way, one of them or two of them are out there not able to see the answers, which they're really able to see.
Yeah,
So,
I'm good with
but
that.
it's an open meeting. Everybody okay
I'm
with
good,
that?
I'm good with that, we just need to probably discuss our
Okay,
questions.
so I have some questions
Okay.
that I'll be sending out
You
to
didn't know
the
that was
board.
coming?
Yeah.
I have some questions I'll send out to you in the next day or two. You chop it however you want to, add to it, say it's great, or say this is crap, that's what Steve would say. And add some other things to it. Okay, so it's just for you to add to. And it'll be an open document on Drive, and you can edit all of them that you want to. Okay? You okay with that?
I'm good with it.
Okay.
Just so we have a plan. that's all.
Yes,
Just sit here and look at each
I
other.
like plans. You okay?
Thanks, Matt, that's what I was trying to say.
That's a good idea.
All right, that's what our plan is, on the 12th or 13th, whichever one, all three of them can be here. Sooner we know that, the better, so that we can all get that down on our calendar. And my calendar fills up fast, I'm really out there. Yeah, right. Okay. Item E, bus driver trip pay. Mr. Shaw?
Currently, our bus drivers for trips are paid $20 while driving, $10 while they're at the event, their sit time, their wait time. They had requested, and Lonnie brought it to us and recommended to change that to $15 an hour straight time, whether they're driving or whether they're sitting, it's just $15 an hour. And we ran some numbers on that. It's really a wash from the district standpoint as far as financially, based off of, the numbers that we had last year. There's not financially, there's not a big change. Actually, the district would be, come out a little bit ahead, but it's pretty insignificant.
What's the reasoning for wanting different? Take less money?
For some drivers, it will be less pay, but for some drivers, it will be an increase in their pay. And-
Well, I know you, I don't want to say you want my opinion, because you're going to hear it anyway. So, I kind of did some numbers like with basketball. For example, you have 20 away games, okay? I think you should just give them $20 an hour, because around here, we don't travel like some of the bigger schools where they're gone 12 hours because they're driving 4 hours total. And so I did just an average of 7 hours, like if they're gone at 7 hours. Your difference is going to be $700. So for example, if you had 20 away games in basketball, you're going to pay $2,800 to your drivers. And if you do 15, you're going to pay $2,100. So to me, if you want to make it where you got bus drivers and not have to worry about it, and you pay them $20 an hour, because I'm telling you, that's going to get harder and harder to get. Because I mean, everywhere you go, they've got buses parked everywhere in Springfield, and they're paying on, I mean, they're.
Drivers need.
Yes, but I'm just saying, the cost of, I mean, they're starting to pay them very well. And personally, being a bus driver for 33 years, I think it's a big responsibility. It's getting a bigger responsibility. There's not very many people that can have 40 kids at their back and drive.
What'd you figure that cost to be?
That was just for basketball. It's like a $700 difference. Now, granted, you got to look at, you're going to have games at Dixon. They're only going to be gone 4 hours.
Right.
But they go to Mountain View, which they don't go there anymore, but you're going to have 9 hours. So I just did an average of 7 hours is what most
Per game?
per game, and just did that average, and you're looking at just $700. Now that's just basketball. So if you did other sports and everything else, if you added $700 per sport, which I don't even know if it'd be that much, you're going to have a little bit of an increase. But I personally feel like the bus drivers deserve it. It's a thankless job, and it's not. I mean, everybody doesn't think a whole lot about it, but you drive to Bunker, you drive a bus on roads to Bunker.
Yeah.
Or-
It's tough.
I don't know. I'm just saying. I think I think I was kind of surprised. I thought they would want $20 an hour when I first saw. I just
Well,
think
that's why I was asking, because to me it was.
I think they're, and then for the fact that some will gain and some will not. I mean, why not just?
Maybe we can entice a little bit more help. I mean, I don't think it's gonna be a huge expense for us to do that, to increase it, but I'm okay. I would be okay with it.
I mean, I agree with Steve because, there are kids. And, we put the kids on the bus at night coming back on those roads.
It's basically, it's $105 for 7 hours, at $15, and it's $140. So you got $35 difference per night.
You make a motion?
Well, I don't want to go against it,
We can do that.
I mean,
I'm sure they'll be happy with more.
Yeah, they're not gonna, I don't think they're gonna
Most
say,
people
"We don't
are."
want that. That's, and I agree that.
Then there's no tracking except for how long were they gone.
right, and that way you don't have to do, because see, that was a nightmare too, because you had to go, like on those sheets where you had to fill out, we used to have a terrible formula, and that's another reason I hate math, but it was, filling out their drive time and sit time, and every bus driver wanted to stop and eat, because they got free food, and plus
Why
it's
not?
longer time, but I mean, you get what I'm saying, it's just, that's a nightmare figuring out that
And
drive time, sit time. Why not just make it a solid $20 an hour, and if you're gone, if you can do the math, you figure out what you're gonna make.
They'll be easier on them.
I'm gonna make a motion to go against the recommendation of Mr. Shaw. And just pay a straight $20 an hour for trip pay for bus drivers.
And second, Steve.
No, I guess I'm gonna vote against it. Second,
You will.
And you said for trip and activity pay, correct?
yeah.
Yes.
Motion made by Mr. Birdsong, seconded by Mr. Guffey to raise our trip pay from whatever it is, to $20 an hour. I think it's now 15 and 10.
It was a combination.
20
Right
and
now,
10.
20 and 10.
Just a
20
straight
and
20.
Now it's just $20 all the way across. From time to leave, time to get back. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, raise your hand. Should I abstain?
Is it what?
You can abstain.
It's
But
it's for everybody, it's not him specifically.
You don't have to abstain.
So,
Very good. Motion carries 6-0.
Maybe Amy should do it. See, which one is the bright spot. Instead of, where's my paperwork? Hey, we're gonna pay you more.
Our last item for our action items we have is to set our October board meeting date. The date is the 20th. I will tell you that I will not be here in person that evening. I'll be out of town for a while there, so, which is fine, keep the meeting on the 20th. I can zoom in at that, or Google Meet, or what's my technology? Whatever all those other things are that you can do, classroom things, I can Google in at some point.
Hey,
I can
no,
be
no,
here.
let's Snapchat you.
I don't even know what that means, but okay.
Doug, could you, if we meet the 13th, and we meet the next week too, the 20th.
It's true.
Thursday, so,
But if you wait till the week
27th.
after that, you're getting awful late on bills.
Does either day before or after help you? Around the 20th? Or are you
No.
gone for several days?
No, it won't help me at all.
That's what I was assuming, but
Yeah.
I just
No,
thought I would ask.
and I'm out all those days. So
All of
you
them.
need to have it when you want to have it, and I probably won't be here for October.
I'm good with 20.
Even if you move it to the next Tuesday, I'll give it time.
Okay.
That's what you asked.
Yeah, I'm just seeing if there was, I've got to check. I gotta check the dates. We're short. I apologize for that.
20th work for everybody else so far? Okay. Adam, see where he is.
I'll just say this back. Yes, that's fine.
You're good? Okay, so meeting will be back to the third Thursday of the month on October 20th at 6:30. Okay? Anything else? Need a motion to go into executive?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Shire, is there a second by Mr. Guppy? Any further discussion? We'll do a roll call. Ms. Mupfeld? Ms. Shushan? Birdsong?
Yes.
Mr. Guppy?
Yes.
Mr. Shire? Myself, yes. All yes.
Wait.
We're good. Thanks for coming. Have a good evening. See you at 12, whichever one that might be, if you want to come.
One of those days.
And if not,
Come and enjoy the fun.
on the 20th.
Oh,